On this episode of Decoration Myths, we're sharing insights from the NFL Draft to show you how to... On this episode of Decoration Myths, we're sharing insights from the NFL Draft to show you insights on how to set up an on-site activation and decorate with speed. From the NFL Draft to show you setting up activations and decorate with speed. No, it's horrible. To show you how to activate your stupid head so you can remember this intro. On this episode of Decoration Myths, we're going to share insights from the NFL Draft and to show you how to set up on-site activations and decorate with speed. Welcome to another episode of Decoration Myths. I'm Stephen Bear, Palm Desert High School.
I'm Josh Ellsworth, Albert Gallatin High School.
Having a little fun here. What we're going to talk about today is on-site activation. So the first question is, what is an on-site activation? And the second is, where is it most commonly used? Like, where are decorators really getting into it?
Yeah, so an on-site activation is really live printing at an event. Typically, you see it created currently for a brand experience or elevating what's happening. That's sort of just-in-time manufacturing of a product to satisfy a fan experience or an attendee experience. And so we've seen that happen all the way from, a ball field for a tournament up through things like key games at like an NHL All-Star game or an NBA All-Star game, whatever it might be. And so we see a lot of brands wanting to offer this live printing as an experience to just enhance that fan or that customer experience that wants to affiliate with their brand.
And I would imagine like heat press is popular because you're looking at this unit, it's mobile, right? So how many units typically go on, let's say, a high school championship game?
Yeah, and so heat printing is a great technology for doing on-site because it is very small footprint. It's also very portable. Mm-hmm. And typically within a couple minutes, you can bring something completely custom or mostly custom to life. And so we often see people venture out with one heat press at an event, depending on the size and scale of the event. Often you'll see multiple heat presses. So that's really a question of what do you want to decorate? What's the expected attendee count for the event? How many items do you need to work through?
Nice. But speed is everything, right? Because if you have a queue of a long line, right?
Yeah.
You've got to work fast.
Yeah, you take your lumps if you go out and you don't do proper planning, because what it does, instead of creating that customer experience or that fan experience, what it does is it does the opposite. Yeah. It makes them really angry if you have a line building, people waiting for their custom t-shirt. So it's really important that we think about speed in the equation. How can we make it simple? And that doesn't come to life anywhere better than what we do behind the scenes from STAHLS at the NFL Draft.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all about it because they announce the player's name and you have how much time?
Yeah, so we have 2 minutes. And so basically what happens is the call goes back to an NFL representative. We're behind the scenes with 2 fusion heat presses. There's a prep work that goes on months before the event so we can plan for every single player that could potentially be picked in the first round and every single team that has a pick in the first round or that can trade up to the first round. We get that call in that says, hey, this player has been picked at this position for this team, and we have to be able to match up the components and decorate that within 2 minutes and actually have an NFL representative hand it to the commissioner, and usually the garment's still hot off the heat press as the commissioner is carrying it to the stage.
So tell me a little bit about, because I mean, the NFL Draft is huge, right? It's televised, everything. So we typically only see the stage and then like Roger Goodell, he gets that jersey. Are you right by kind of the tunnel?
Yeah. Right. So we're back. There's a dedicated jersey room in the back. And so if you were to walk into that room, you would see this beautiful wall of all the NFL jerseys. So if you're an NFL fan, it's like heaven. You walk in, there's jerseys from all the teams. And then there would be a center table that we're in where we have a folder system portioned for every potential player that could be picked. Right? And we have multiple name bars that are ready to go onto different colors of jerseys for that player. And then on the back side of that room, you'll see 2 heat presses set up. And so what happens is pick comes in, we're right there along that walkway, we're grabbing the jersey. Simultaneously, somebody is working through the folder system to grab the appropriate name and then feeding it back to one of 2 heat presses for decoration. We have 2 dedicated operators for those heat presses. One that's all blinged out for our TV appearance. And they're customizing that and peeling away the carrier. Then it gets handed out, sometimes to an NFL representative, most recently to a super fan that gets like a fan experience to carry the jersey and move behind the scenes, and then hand it off to the commissioner. So
that's
pretty
very
cool. Yeah, quick.
So last question, because the draft can change. So if they call an audible or somebody trades up, is that pure chaos in the jersey room?
I will say there have been moments of chaos, but over the more than a decade that STAHLS has been decorating behind the scenes, we haven't missed a draft pick or made a mistake. But there have been some tight moments where teams have traded up sometimes over the years for multiple picks where we're scrambling to find the jersey. I think one year the story was they even took it off a mannequin to find the Vikings jersey on a big trade up. So we take lots of extras, lots of preparation now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about getting into some of our product.
Sure.
What are we going to start with today? And what would you like to look at?
Yeah, so I think I'll start with a tip. When you are approaching a live activation for your business, there's really a key decision for you. One, is this part of a brand experience? And to me, that's optimal because it means all of the goods are paid for up front because you're bringing this experience to life on site. And that's a great way to walk in to know you've already covered all of your transfers, all of your blanks in the upfront negotiation to deliver that experience. And typically once items are sold out, it's sold out. And the people attending that experience get the item for free, which is awesome. But then there's other activation experiences where as a decorator, the burden is on you. If the product doesn't sell, you're probably going to be responsible for that inventory. And that's really what's great about on-site printing is we're not committing the transfer to the blank until we actually have an order. And so the idea of pre-printed inventory where something rains out, get canceled, or maybe isn't as widely attended as we would have hoped, we're kind of limiting our risk. And so another way to limit that risk in either scenario, I think, is looking at a one-size-fits-all or one-size-fits-most item. And so a couple categories that you may want to consider for that is headwear, a great category to get into. But we've selected another category today that is the bag category. And I think that's a great product for on-site activations. You can go high-end with a backpack, or you can go something that's a little bit more price point sensitive, which is what we're going to go with today.
Awesome. So just before we jump into this laundry bag, the key is to have blanks because you don't want to do any prep because you mentioned if weather affects something or then, you still have your inventory that you can move elsewhere. So that's a key point.
Yeah, it is. And so we're operating always with a stack of blanks. As we'll see when we get into future items, it's going to be an assortment of size specific items. But in the case of this bag, it's a one size fits all, which is an awesome core product to focus on. So blanks and then transfers. And typically we like to keep it simple. And so you offer too many choices, what you're going to do is create gridlock at the front of the line, and people are going to be paralyzed by all of those choices and not going to be able to select one. And we've actually done studies. People a lot smarter than me have done studies. Is when your selection is too wide, usually you generate less revenue because people can't move to a decision. So keep it simple. I would say at most 3 choices, and you really don't want to compound your choices too much. So a bag like this, we're going to offer maybe 2 choices in decoration on.
That's great. Yeah, and speed is everything because once that customer walks out back into the stands, everyone's like, where'd you get that? Right?
Yeah, and visibility is everything too. So let's get this product loaded onto the heat press. You can tell us a little bit about it as I'm doing that.
So this is from OAD. So this is a pretty extra large laundry bag. It's 100% cotton canvas. This is in the natural color. So anytime you go natural in this cotton canvas category, you're gonna, take advantage of price point. But it also allows you to just about decorate any color on there. So we picked this item because, let's say you are at a championship game. There's seniors there in high school. This is something they can take on, with them. So on to whatever they do to do their own laundry.
Yeah,
right?
Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
That's the hope. And so we're going with a super large transfer. Again, I would probably offer different choices here. But I'm only going to commit the transfer to the bag at the time of the order. A couple tips that I want to say is when you are setting up to print on site, you'll want to find, especially if you only have one heat press, transfers that use the same temperature because it will kill you to change that temperature up and down.
Yeah.
And so make sure you're finding transfers that use the same temperature. And so here we're dealing with our direct to film transfers across all the products we're going to show you today. just to keep it simple. Yes, some of these transfers I could have sourced lower cost in
Sure.
another style, but it's not about the cost of the transfer in this point. It's about the speed of which
Sure.
we can produce the items. And so 12 seconds, so quick applications always help. And then
Wow.
hot peel is always a benefit when you are printing on
Look
site.
at the steam coming off of that. That's incredible.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
if we can find transfers that are same temperature, single step application, hot peel, that's going to give me maximum speed. Doesn't need a second hit. This has been decorated in a matter of seconds.
Wow.
Somebody's throwing that bag over their shoulder, carrying it around the event, and we have the logo where everybody can
It
see it.
definitely lets you know which team you're rooting for.
That's right.
You know?
And that's a
That's
cool
great.
thing too. And so don't think it just has to be one dimensional on the team. We see this a lot with tournaments, rivalry games, things like that, where all of a sudden you see lots of Bears bags.
Yeah.
And then how about the Tigers, right? And so the Tigers fans all want to buy the Tiger bag, right? To represent their team. We go with a neutral color that can come to life over any logo.
Yeah. So this is one of the bigger transfers we've done. What type of transfer is this?
Yeah, so this is a direct-to-film transfer. It's
Awesome.
Ultra Color Max.
Yeah.
We used almost the full 16 by 20 size of the Platin because, as you mentioned, this is an extra large bag,
Yeah.
and we wanted this brand to stay out. You can get creative, right? We could have done something long along
Sure.
the side. You could go smaller, but this is quick and easy to line up
This is great.
because it's using the full Platin size.
Nice.
Okay, so that's a bag. Again, the tips from that, same temperature, easy placement, easy application, not a lot of choice, just this logo or that logo, and then making sure we are setting up in a way that's easy to load and easy to execute when we take that order.
Looks fantastic.
All right, let's keep moving.
Let's keep moving.
All right,
So,
good.
I'm sorry. Here's a very popular piece. It's the t-shirt hoodie. This is from ComfortWash by Hanes. So it's a garment dyed product. So very trendy with the inside out stitching. So it would be a great on-site, product because people would gravitate to this.
Yeah, and I
So-
think so. And what we see at a lot of events, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do this, is people leaning towards inexpensive carded cotton, open-ended card
Sure.
cotton t-shirts, right, just to keep their costs low. But I would challenge you to think a little bit, just slightly more premium on
For
your
sure.
blank selections. By jumping to something like this, you're going to be able to merchandise an item that people typically don't see for on-site printing at an event. And we think, we've seen that people are willing to spend just
For
a little
sure.
bit more or make a purchase that otherwise they wouldn't have if we go higher end on the item.
There is a lot of emotion that goes on in parents when they're watching their kid
Right.
playing a game. So, to offer something premium, price is no option really.
Good. So let's give you some other live activation on-site printing tips as we load this. Again, we're going to use our 16 by 20 Platin. And so trying to pick items and placement locations that work across the same Platin is going to save you a lot of time and a lot of change out.
Makes sense.
Of course, if you have 2 heat presses, then we can set 1 heat press up for each location size. And then what I love here that we're going to show you is we're going to show you the standard front logo placement. And then our variable data piece, in this case, is going to be our numbering. So the idea that we can have packs of numbers or loose numbers out. And so
Oh, great.
somebody
yeah.
walks up, now they can get the front logo, and really their variable piece is the number for the player that they want to support.
Right
So,
on.
let's just say we have a number, 28. Keeping the alignment simple. And so with this logo, we've set up to be able to line the digits directly under the O and the N of
Smart.
Bear Nation here. And so it's just a nice, quick registration thing. So all of these are laid out separate. We're going to have good organization around our numbers, and I can get something completely custom for the player that I want to represent in a very short amount of time.
Wow. And I mean, that's just the prep. So like you pick the O and the N to line the number on. So easy training and kind of get together, huddle as a team before the event and say, this is how we're going to go at it.
Yeah,
So-
success at a on-site activation is 100% about the prep work. If you fail to prepare, like we could have easily taken a vinyl cutter and cut the number 28 on demand. We've done that at events.
Sure.
Now the challenge with that is it just adds time to the process. And so I'd rather
Yeah.
spend a little bit of money, have an inventory of the numbers. We're only working with one font. Keep it simple. Don't offer too many choices. There's enough customization around here. You're going to get the sale. So I would say simplify it. And
Sure.
then step back for a day, look at it again, simplify it again,
Yeah.
and then step back for a day, simplify it again. It's so important to keep it simple.
Well, there's a lot of money to be made. So, I mean,
Yeah, and they're
having
really
it right. Because you walk out, you change instantly into the shirt. You're into the stands and you have your son or daughter's number, and it's
yeah. And you know why I love these? I don't know how many times I've been to an event with a family member, usually my wife, and she says, "Can you go back out to the car and grab my jacket? It's a little colder in here than I thought." And so having this long sleeved item that can easily slip over a shirt, a great product. Now, I love adding additional locations, right? And so that's somewhere I'm going to encourage you to step out, because if we can increase our average item value at the event on the same item, that's going to be great. And the best way to do that is with secondary placement. So the price for the shirt with the number is included here. Now let's charge an extra $5 or $10 or whatever the price point you want to set is for an extra location.
Wow.
Right?
Nice.
And so have designs that work across a wide variety of blanks for extra locations, right? So there's a lot of places I could put this logo.
Yeah.
Right? So my choices are sleeve, hood. There's only one problem with that. That would require a platen change.
Exactly.
Which is going to do what? Add time, right? Add time to the process and think
bigger
about
line,
right?
Yeah.
And also add, you know, your employee experience isn't going to be great lifting this 16 by 20 platen on and off for every shirt. And so think about placement here and speed. And so on speed on this one, I'm just going to slide it right out. I'm going to rotate the shirt around, never having to change it off of the platen. And I'm going to get to this back hip location. Very quick, very easy, right? And so I kind of reset that back, make sure my shirt's straight. And I'm just going to pull my shirt forward and get to this back hip location right here. And that means I'm not going to have to change the platen. So I'll preheat this side.
That's great.
For the 5 seconds, just to get that moisture out of the garment. Place that logo right on that back hip location and lock it down. So now I've added an extra $5 or $10 in revenue to maybe 50% of the items I sell if I merchandise it well, right? And that's another point. Take these finished looks, everything that can be created, merchandise them across the back wall or a front table, so people know the look, and maybe they can just say, I want look A, I want look B, I want look C, right? So quick and easy.
Well, I would imagine like when you're in the line, you know, you're seeing this visual of it happening. And so all of a sudden you see this extra, you know, value add. Yeah. You're like, forget it, man, I'm getting that too.
Heck yeah. You know? Why wouldn't you want that extra placement on there?
Exactly.
Right?
So cool.
So extra visibility. So we've been talking speed, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about the last item, and then I want you to time me.
Oh, nice.
To see how fast we can customize
I better get ready
item.
For that.
But first, this is my favorite piece, which is why it's the best for last here.
Yes.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is a great piece from MV Sport. So this is their sueded cropped hoodie, and hugely popular, ton of colors. You know, you can see slightly different colors in the hood to the sleeve. And then you have this nice heathered gray look. So very popular.
Yeah. And so if I'm setting up to do a Bear Nation event, right, I've been operating on my 16 by 20 press. So I wouldn't suggest that you set up to do this the way I'm going to do it unless you have a second heat press or unless you're working completely with the 11 by 15 platen. But I wanted to be able to show you not only the front location with the variable number like we've done, a little different logo, but also a hood placement. And I'm going to show you how you can take one platen, which is the 11 by 15. It's great for hoodies, great for bags, and not only be able to do the front, but the hood. And so I'll have you hold this before you time me. Yeah. So presumably I would come to the event and I would be set up with the appropriate platen from moment number 1. And that would be my 11 by 15 platen. And I'm set up to print fronts. Very quick, very easy. Okay, so you ready to time me?
I think, are you ready?
Not quite ready.
Okay.
I would have the pressure locked in, right? Because you wouldn't have to change this on every shirt. So I would have the pressure set up for my operator. And now, let's say order comes in, and there's a variety of ways to take an order. Paper forms are pretty simple. So create a simple paper form that you can put with the order for when they pick up. There's also kiosk systems and ways you can manage this through software that are out there as well. But we have the order, and now we want to see how quick we can decorate for this client.
So you say when, and I won't talk.
I'm ready. So my goal is to try to get it in, what do you think, under 3 minutes? Let's see how fast I
think it'd be great.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Go for it.
So we load, we get to the front, we make sure the shirt's straight. I'm going to do my preheat. While it's preheat, I'm going to grab my customization. While I'm getting my stuff ready, it's okay if it sits there for a second, not going to hurt anything. I'm going to put my front logo mark down, make sure it's straight. In this particular case, I'm going to operate number 45. I heard you whisper, I'm very calm. My hands start shaking. Make sure it's straight. I'm not really rushing it all, right? I want to make sure
Yeah.
things are straight. I don't want to ruin this garment.
Sure.
And so I think taking 30 more seconds to make sure everything's lined up appropriately, not a big deal. So in this case, front placement, customized number, have your numbers all organized. We're going to open it up. Again, the benefit of being able to grab and hot peel is going to make a big difference. Having a trash can right beside you. Now, for the extra print location, we're going to do the hood, right? And so rather than changing the platen or rotating anything, I'm just going to get the hood placement right here, right on the same platen. Going to do a preheat. Going to grab my logo. In this case, we're going to do bears again. Make sure it's straight. Going with the side hood placement. 12 seconds. And it's going to be complete, ready to bag, put with the order, and out the door. Don't stop it yet. And go ahead and stop.
Excellent. Wow. So you've got all this placements. Goal was 3 minutes.
What do we
My
got?
man,
What we got?
1:40.
Minute 40. All right.
And I mean, you're accumulating a nice profit in 1:40 on on-site activation. That is very cool.
And the key is, again, let's run back through those tips. We want to keep it simple. We want to make sure that we're leveraging the same platen across all the placements, because that change out is going to cost me a lot of time, a lot of lifting, a lot of work. So do the planning, think about your item, think about your transfers, your choices. It'll probably take you longer to take the order than it will to decorate the shirt if you set up to do everything correctly.
Man, this is fantastic. On-site activation detailed by Josh Ellsworth.
You got it.
1:40.
You got it.
So this has been a fantastic episode, very exciting, a lot of profit to be made. Thank you for all the insight. And all the links to the products are going to be listed below. And wow, we look forward to the next episode. Thanks, Josh.
All right. Thanks for watching.